It's midday and you're welcome to Pan-African News. We are coming to you from our studios in Abelinkwe 48 Swanika Street here in Accra. My name is Justice Sapia. Coming up in this afternoon's bulletin, Ghana thronged into state of disbelief and uproar following the gruesome murder of 10-year-old by two teenage accomplices. Ghana Tuna Association calls for prudent fisheries management for Ghana following beaching on different species of fishes along beaches in the country. Plus, in business, we'll take a critical look at efforts by government to revamp the railway sector. We have international sports and entertainment all coming up. Please stay. Ghana was thrown into a state of shock and disbelief following the gruesome murder of a 10-year-old by two teenage accomplices aged 16 and 17 respectively at Kaswa in the central region. Police initial investigations pointed to ritual murder, raising national uproar and discontent. Makiza Latifa is stationed at the family house of the victim and has more. Let me cross over to the phone lines and speak to my colleague, Makiza Latifa. Good afternoon, Makiza. Hello? Do we have Makiza on the line?
Yeah. Hello, Justice.
Good afternoon.
Hello?
Makiza.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Justice.
If you can hear us, can you tell us what exactly is happening in the family house of the victim, where you are currently?
Okay. So we were at the family house of, the deceased 10-year-old, who we actually heard that was killed by some other young boys for money ritual, allegedly. We were at the house earlier. And I must say, the atmosphere here is very, very sad. You can see a lot of people waiting and crying, and they are very heartbroken. So we got a chance to speak with the mother of the deceased in the person of Hajia Sada to Abdullah, and she was narrating the story to us, and we couldn't help but be sad. So according to her, the incident happened on Saturday around 10 a.m. in the morning. According to her, she was just lying down, or she happened to have told her children that she wanted to take a nap. So she did go ahead and she took the nap and left the deceased, now deceased young boy at the, living area where he was playing games. So about 30 minutes later, her daughter barged into the room wailing, crying, and shouting that the son or the deceased had been killed. She couldn't believe it. She just woke up and, rushed to the scene. And when she got there, she was just totally heartbroken. She couldn't, actually go ahead and say what she saw. She actually couldn't believe that the son she had left in the living room some 30 minutes ago had actually been killed, by some young guys. And when we asked her why or how the incident happened, she told us that one of the boys happens to be a friend to the family. He comes there often, plays with the son and all of that. So they never for once suspected that anything of the sort would have happened. And according to her, a younger boy or a brother to the one who actually engaged in the heinous crime came to the house and then called her son and told the son that they were going to play. So the son actually followed, but funny enough, they used a different route where there was nobody inside. So they used a different route. They got to an uncompleted building, and there was an older boy. According to the woman, the media is reporting that the children were 16, 17, but actually the children are 18 and 19. So the 19-year-old boy actually sent the younger one to call Ishmael, who is now deceased, to the uncompleted building. He came there, they were playing, and then they actually dug, a pit, and then took a pickaxe, and then hit the boy, who is now deceased, at the back of his head. He fell, He didn't die. He was, still alive and all of that, struggling and all of that. And so they used blocks to hit the boy several times or multiple times, which led to his, passing on. And then actually put the boy in the pit and then covered it up. But they couldn't cover it totally because they thought they would go back and then come when it's in the evening and then take the boy to where they were going to. So according to the mom, the children wanted to take the boy to a malam or a priest, a false priest or a chief priest or something of the sort. They had seen an advert on TV with a number telling them that if they come there with 5,000 Ghana cedis and a male child who is a virgin, they will actually get more money. And all the boys wanted, the 19-year-old boy and the 18-year-old boy wanted, was to buy a Range Rover. And so they saw the number, they picked the number, they called, and this was the instructions they were given by the money doubler, who told them that if they come with a male child who is a virgin and 5,000 Ghana cedis, they'll get the money they want to buy anything they want in the world. And top of the list was they are buying a Range Rover. And that was why they actually went ahead and, engaged in such a heinous, crime. So right now we're gathering that the boys have been sent to the, Kaswa police station. We'll try as much as possible and go there and find out what is happening or what is going to happen now. But the mood there is very, very sad. All the residents in the area are actually asking, they can't fathom why boys of such an age will actually engage in such a crime, because these are young boys who actually come around to play, especially the 18-year-old. He comes there to play with Ishmael, and they actually grew up together. That's what the mother is telling us. So she can't understand, and she always extends a helping hand to, the family of the other boy when they need help or stuff like that. So she can't understand why these boys will actually engage in a crime.
If you can hear me, what is the atmosphere like over there? What are residents saying?
Hello?
If you can hear me, what's the atmosphere like over there? What are residents saying?
So as I said earlier, the residents are asking a lot of questions. They are talking about the safety of their children and they themselves. They can't understand why this is happening. And according to some of the residents that we spoke to, the older boy who is called Nicholas, the 19-year-old boy who actually led in the crime, had actually raped a young girl once and then had actually threatened a woman he was living with at the time before. He was taken to the police station, he was released, and all of that. So, but the younger boy is actually one who comes to the area to play with the little boy who is now deceased and all of that. So the residents are asking a lot of questions. They are calling on the government to actually come in and make sure that justice is served to Ishmael who lost his life because of the fact that some young boys saw on television an advert which they felt they could make money out of and actually get to buy a Range Rover.
All right, thank you so much, Makiza, for that report. That was my
so
colleague.
There are even issues of safety.
That was my colleague Makiza Latifa
Michelin,
who is stationed in Kaswa, to be precise, where the heinous crime was committed. We are going for a short break. We'll be right back.
It's incredible! Bang on target!
And until I decided Truman capsules and so at their brain.
I can't even watch this up with you, Truman.
the account. Now you're bare man, a people.
Hey, Truman capsules. One mama ya bear ma bion.
Truman ye marima drew and mofra woni mfie dun watwe intumi num. Sa dwede enkrato we FDA for hwemu agya tum senhye.
Back from that break, we also joined on phone for more on the Kasua Meda issue by Joy Deborah, PRO, Ghana Psychological Association. Madam, good afternoon and welcome to Pan-African News.
Good afternoon.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. From your background, what do you think might have been the reason for such a crime committed by teenagers?
Thank you very much and good afternoon to all your listeners. It is a very unfortunate situation that we have teenagers, young boys, children who have been involved in such a heinous crime. And I want to use this opportunity to extend my condolences to the family who have lost their son, and also express my thoughts to the situation and say we are all sorry and we hope that they will behave perfectly. Yes, we have a situation where the society that we live in is now not upholding its values. The old values that we had, people honest, to love, to offer service, to be humble, and to work hard and earn from their hard work. Now we are losing it out. And all we're looking for is money and money and money. Do we see now? Who do we have respect for? People who have money. And these monies are not even, you cannot even explain where the monies are coming from. People become rich overnight. And nobody cares to ask where they are coming from.
No, Madam Joy.
Many times we think that our children do not see, they do not appreciate what's going on. They are learning from us. And we hail rich people.
So,
as to where they are getting their money from, nobody wants to know. So people are corrupt.
So by this point, do you think that
to get rich,
do you think that we can
people are
this
living
issue
very affluent life? And all these are contributing to societal breakdown. Now we're talking of right. Nobody talks of responsibility. And so it is my right to become this. It is my right. It's my right not to be done that. But then, where are our responsibilities? We are talking about children here. And children are supposed to be groomed by parents. Where are their parents? What have they grown to learn over the years that they are able to survive? The courage with which they can commit this crime. It's so heartbreaking that children a child who is less than, who is about 4 or so years.
All right, Madam Joy, if you can hear me, so can we blame this issue on lack of parental control, or could there be any psychological issue?
The person comes for you, a person who is supposed to be your friend or your big brother, just kills you.
Can you hear me, Madam Joy?
People are so heinous that you can't even bring yourself to. And it all boils down to the negligence that we are having. The things carry on our media stations, the radio, the TVs, the people who are the money doublers, and all the mamas and things that are doing things on. Nobody cares. Media Commission says they have no control over that. What is Parliament also doing? In their
Madam Joy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, thank you. So my question is, can we blame this issue on lack of parental control, or do you think that there are some psychological undertones?
It may be possible that there is a psychological undertone, but be investigated. Generally, you can't blame everything on parents. Though parents have themselves to blame in such a situation, I think the society, the entire society, needs to look at this thing with a certain spectacle. But what are we telling our children? So if we do not society that upholds any good thing, but all we are thinking of is to be rich overnight, then our children, because they learn from the society, we have something called social learning. They are learning from what they are seeing. Then they'll begin to practice whatever. Where did they learn how to kill people? Didn't they see it from our media and from our phones?
But it all boils down to parental control, because parents are able to determine what their kids watch on TV. We wouldn't have gotten to this point. Would you agree with that?
Of course, but parents wouldn't be home at all times. So the media also have a responsibility. That we're showing in our station. Do we care that children will be watching? And for that, all these have to be censored. We don't need to. Now, sexual scenes are all over.
All right.
And children are learning. Children they explore what they see. And so we all have a responsibility.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Our children make the right decisions.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We are so grateful for your time. We've been speaking to Madam Joy Deborah, who is with the Psychological Association of Ghana. Away from that story, the Food and Drugs Authority has commenced investigations into how different species of fishes, including 80 dolphins, beached at various countries over the weekend, including Osu Axim Beach. Stakeholders in the fishing industry see this as a possible threat to the country's marine life. Pan-African Television engaged the Secretary of the Ghana Tuna Association, Richard Stani Amafio, before the incident on threat to Ghana's fishing industry.
You are opening up the poverty because you are destroying the environment. Because the fish need that natural environment to survive. Now, you have people reclaiming wetlands all over the place. Wetlands make some contribution to the fisheries ecosystem, or I won't say marine ecosystem, the fisheries ecosystem. And you keep basically destroying all the wetlands. So once you destroy the wetland, you are basically destroying the ecosystem. And if you destroy the ecosystem, you are destroying the fishery sector. And so more livelihood are going away. Even in the ocean, you are not putting in place adequate measures to protect the sea. Now, the question I kept asking, when you look at the tallow oil, for instance, if you look at their Jubilee environmental impact statement, they have stated that there will be minimal impact of the activities on marine mammals. Between 2009 and 2011, 11 whales came beaching. You raise the issue, they say, oh, the whales swallowed 21 whales came beaching. They said, oh, the whales swallowed a lot of plastics. We introduced the plastic into the ocean in the first place. But the other issue is, when they stop or they reduce the seismic survey or seismic activities in our ocean, the number of whales that were beaching, because in 2 years you had 21 whales beaching. Between 2011 and now, you can't count even 5 whales beaching along the western part of the country. What is the impact of the oil activities on our fisheries? Nobody is saying. We have put the fisheries sector to the back pedal. We mine right in the heart of our water bodies. You see, assemblies are supposed to be planning agents. And in planning, one of the things they need to take cognizance of is the environment. Right. Look at all our water bodies and look at all the storm drains that we create and other drains. Everything is channeled into one water body or the other. Look at Accra. All the gutters are channeled into either the Peshi, the Chemu, the Sakumo, or something. So every waste that we have from home, all the industrial waste are directly linked to some water body. So you pour them into the water body, they destroy the water body, and so you destroy the fisheries in that natural water body. It continues into the ocean, and you continue to destroy the fishery in the ocean. If you poison fish, you can kill everybody in the country. So that is the outlook of the fishing industry. It's not about fishermen or destroying the fisheries. It's about a nation that doesn't understand what it means to have fish, what it means to preserve our water bodies, what it means to preserve our natural environment in order for us to grow our fishery. Once we understand it from that perspective, I'm sure that the policy and the approach will be different. The way we manage our fisheries will be different. We manage fisheries more from an ecosystem-based approach. We would look at fisheries management from a restorative approach, where we will
still on the issue of beaching of fishes in the country. We shall cross over to the phone lines and talk to the Secretary of Ghana Tuna Association, Richester Niamafio, to tell us what may be the possible causes. Good afternoon, sir. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. If you can hear us, can you please tell us what may be the possible causes of, beaching of fishes at our shores, at some beaches across the country?
Well, anything anybody, including myself, say for now, it will remain speculation until we have the report of the investigators who are doing the postmortem reports, who are doing the pathological reports on the beaching of the melonhead whales and also the fish. So I will only speak to possibilities.
Okay, you can go ahead.
They may not be what really happened. So this is a caveat I just want to give before I begin.
That's all right.
If you agree with me, I can proceed.
You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the issue of the whales, the dolphin, we call them melon-headed whales. There are a number of possibilities, including a possible sound effect. Dolphins and other mammals like whales move by sound. So if you introduce ultra-high sound in their environment, it will lead to the kind of dolphin we saw, they move in large numbers, between 100 and 1,000. For one moment, you have a number of them coming to beach at the same time for what may have happened. The other possibility is that they may be following food and they may have come too close to shore such that it was for them to swim back. So they were beached. If that happened, it is that it is as a result of natural consequence. There could also be a possibility that they may have come in contact with some other toxic substance, or they may have eaten as part of their food chain some other fish that may have eaten some dangerous algae that is harmful to the health of the mammal. So these are 4 possibilities that I know of, which could lead to the dolphins beaching in their numbers maximum.
All right.
Then when it comes to the fish artist, you realize that it's a mixed species. When we say mixed species, you have fish that are demersals, bottom fish.
Okay.
And you also have fish that are mid-water fish. And that is where I have my challenge, that if it was a result of an activity, you may not have bottom fish and demersals all dying at the same time around the same area, especially when you immediately cannot cite physically some change in water temperature or change in the environment. And that is why you really need more of the scientific basis for the reason that Nama will wash herself. Because I saw cassava fish and I saw groupers. And I saw some sardinella, which basically are on different layers of the ocean. So if it's as a result of poisoning of the water, I expect that the poison would move gradually, and so by the time it gets to the bottom, it may be diluted. But even if it will cause havoc, it means that it will be around different areas because of the movement of the tide and then the undercurrent movement of the water. And also particularly because the sea has a special cleaning effect. Other possibility could be feeding or probably other land-based pollution. Probably somebody might have poured something into the lagoon which may have entered the water and so may have affected the fish.
All right, thank you so much.
That is why we need to be cautious how we consume the fish.
All right, thank you so
much.
Others
have raised issues of time, lack of oxygen, or fall in the oxygen levels.
Can you hear me, Mr.
Possibility. So we need to know that these are possible causes of the event of the weekend.
Okay, we don't have enough time, but let me ask you a final question before we leave you off the hook. Is fish consumption safe in the country, though the FDA hasn't come out yet with any findings?
If I would advise somebody, I would have asked the person to hold on for a while, or be very particular about what fish the person is buying. I wouldn't say it's not safe, but I would say that until the FDA comes up, because if it is poisoning, probably what I expect to be happening now is that we should be taking more samples from all the landing beaches. Today is Tuesday, so from tomorrow we should be taking more samples to know if there is any contamination, so that the general public can be assured of the safety of the fish that we are eating.
All right, thank you so much for speaking to us. We are so grateful for your time. We've been speaking to the Secretary of the Association of Ghana Tuna, and he's in person of Richester Ni Amafio. Away from that story, residents of the Oti region are calling on government to redeem promises made to construct a bridge over the Oti River. President Akufo-Addo, in the heat of the 2020 campaigns, made a pledge to put a bridge over the Oti River to improve socio-economic activities in the area.
Oti borders the Oti region to other regions, including the Volta and Northern regions. Its vast economic importance stretches from the fishing to transportation and has been the source of economic livelihoods to people of these regions. However, due to improper planning, the Oti River has become the bane of economic growth. The absence of a bridge over the Oti River has become a block affecting socio-economic activities in the bordering regions.
So I'm pleading with the government to construct a bridge over the Oti River, so it might help both the business workers and we the students as well, because it's business that develop a town. For instance, Karachi and the surrounding areas. Even though there is road, but heavy load car can go there and go and develop because of the ferrying and the consequences over the river. So I'm pleading with the government to construct a road over a bridge over the Oti River and a road for the.
Accessing other parts of the region has become a nightmare for residents struggling to cross over using canoes and boats, sometimes at high risk.
Yeah, cargo cars, yeah, how to through the Obaha. She says, send him about by this time. Obada na want me and cross. I did cheer. Private cars, no buses, ever buying, you know, when you never cross. I answer somewhere around 2 to 3 as a wabenya because I wadaha amadiachi. I don't know why I didn't know any first come first serve. Say also bet me a sharp wire. And then secondly pantuno and new wire. Almost about 2-3 days now say. 2-3 days now say. At the end so when we a major road my I was saying come my pantu one they said the beya. So at least could I you can come my minu. Say abobo ya menu krana we corner we back. Say baku say back be chuma this ane ya hawa ya wahapa ya bre sa kwa we ya bre papa.
According to residents and traders, several promises have been made to put a bridge over the Oti River, but these have been just a political tool to canvass for votes. Travelers from Accra, Kumasi, Ho and other places to buy fish at Ketekrachi to do business are often at the losing end. Residents and traders are calling on government to fulfill its promises and construct a bridge over the river.
Now, the Member of Parliament for Lada de Kotopon constituency, Rita Odole Soa, has urged Health Minister Designate Kweku Adjumamenu to desist from peddling lies on the reconstruction of the La General Hospital. Her comment was in response to claims made by the Health Minister Designate when he appeared before the Appointments Committee for vetting.
Previously known as La Polyclinic, was instituted in 1963 but became fully operational in 1965 to cater for the health needs of people of Osu, Labadi, Teshi and Nungwa and neighboring communities. It was shut down in 2020 to pave way for its refurbishment into a modern health institution. Construction works have not commenced, leaving the site overgrown with weeds. This development has incited public outcry and condemnation, especially when the Minister-designate for Health, Kweku Adjumamenu, reportedly lied before the Appointments Committee of Parliament on the status of the facility. A resident of La, Chris Annan, shared his frustration on what residents of La have described as political game by government used in drawing votes to the ruling New Patriotic Party.
They weren't appropriately doing them. So eventually everything started collapsing. And lo and behold, things have been pulled down. The whole thing has been demolished with the intention of having a general hospital. In fact, it is more than a general hospital, above a general hospital. That is what we have been told, and that is what is on plan. And for years now, the place has been demolished. Nothing goes on. Apart from the wall. Later on, we realized that they had rather come to uplift the wall. A wall which had to be pulled down had rather been upgraded. I don't know if I'm using the right word. And when you look at the whole plan, the plan of the hospital had no wall.
He further urged the government to expedite work on the facility, which was expected to be completed in 24 months and funded at a cost of $63 million.
They should stop that war. The war they are continuing with our money. Look at the blocks. Why should they come and continue a war which has to be pulled down? All that we are interested in is even, and I lay emphasis on the even, if it's a tent they have in there with a clinic in there, they should hurry up. We don't like what is going on. Maybe they are waiting for us to die and then they come and build it up. When we won't die, we are refusing to. We are waiting for them to for us to see our large general hospital back.
A non-governmental organization, Saba Innovation Hub, has partnered the Department of Creative Design and Technology of the Faculty of Agriculture, Food and Consumer Sciences of the University for Development Studies, Tamale, to commercialize the newly designed Saba mask. The item is meant to reduce the spread of COVID-19 among pupils of the northern region.
Mask has been identified as one of the most effective personal protective equipment against the spread of the COVID-19. The level of protection may vary depending on the pore size of the material that could trap the virus to prevent its transmission to other individuals. In some cases, the masks are fitted with special features to make them more effective and efficient. Over a year now, face masks was added to the list of apparels for schools. According to Executive Director of a non-governmental organization, Dr. Karit Saba, the rationale behind his innovation is to reduce the spread of the pandemic among peoples in the northern region.
Over a year now, we had this COVID-19 with us. And before last year, it was a bit closer to 50,000 cases. But now it has increased to almost 100,000 cases. Almost 100,000 cases. Also, we have found out that about 282 schools all over the countries with about 1,920 cases in all schools in the country. So the cases are increasing. We know our children go to school with nose masks and never come back with them. It's easy, very easy for them to remove. And also some adults, we have observed that they easily pull the nose masks to their chin.
Short break, will return with business. Welcome back. Let's look at what is happening in the world of business. The Ministry for Railway Development has revealed plans to pursue appropriate policies for the expansion of rail networks across the country. In the following report, we take a look at the Achimota rail system and its response to modern demands.
In the Okaikwe North constituency of the Greater Accra region, boasts of a railway line which connects some suburbs of Accra such as Aveno, Abelinkpe, Amasaman, Tema, and Insawam in the eastern region. The Achimota railway line was constructed in 1911 and has not seen any major facelift. The current rail network, which serves 5 round trips per day, is characterized by old tracks, inadequate terminals, and platforms.
Oh, me who say a quantity de osiesie beboa and a train so buy in a full ecocurum. Intimate coming quantity and quaya quana a ye, Senuan your foy do cookroom. Oh, muni now, my dear to Obesiesie quana a beboy in a Obesiesie in a beboy. So muni na jet me to send ye for and one a medical room got torn near my bayard and the tongue. And mamma honso ya ha into buy a beboy.
Despite the rail line saddled with many problems, encroachment on lands along the line is seriously affecting the lifespan of the lines. Unapproved structures, including slums, are fast springing up along the borders of the line. For the dream of government to modernize the country's railway sector, it has become imperative that lines including that of Achimota be reconstructed.
Among say on master somewhere almost see no kakra say ja rain sunuba be ejuma be kwa pen down abantino ye show
A resident, Abeku Banso, expressed concern about the dilapidating state of the Achimota railway line and urged government to fix it quickly.
Well, my little take is that looking at the current state of the railway lines in Achimota here is quite bad. And then when the minister, as he's saying, he wants to revive the railway and he's able to at least make the tracks strong, bring new trains to run, at least the area will look quite good, and also it will ease traffic from at least in Sawom. So because the main road is just here, people use from Accra through Domi to in Sawom. So when the railway is being revived, at least it will reduce traffic. And also here, the time and when the train runs is 6 in the morning and then in the evening. After that, the track is free. You see, excuse me to say, some of the guys, they smoke here, they do other things here. So when the train is being revived and it's working fluently.
Well, that's all for business. Up next is international news.
From Achimota, Daniel.
Now let's do some stories from our international partners. People's Dispatch. Workers of several Amazon warehouses in Germany organized a 4-day strike demanding an increase in wages and recognition of collective agreements for the retail sector.
Around 2,000 workers in the Amazon warehouse in Rheinberg and 2 sites in Bad Hassfeld, etc., are participating in the strike, the call for which was given by United Services Union. The union also slammed Amazon for not ensuring COVID-19 safety regulations in warehouses. According to reports, workers went on strike seeking a recognition of collective agreement for the retail and mail order business and for healthy work conditions. This year's industry-wide negotiations are likely to begin in the next few weeks. The union wants to ensure that the wage agreement to be negotiated this year are declared binding in all federal states. Ohan Akman from Verdi said, Amazon continues to mint money during the COVID crisis. For this reason alone, wage evasion must be stopped there. Our colleagues in the retail and mail order business in the various federal states are calling for wage increases of 4.5% plus at least €45 over a period of 12 months. Akman also said that during the COVID-19 pandemic, Amazon workers were burdened with extra work without proper breaks or safety measures. Despite this, Amazon has so far refused to conclude an agreement to protect its employees. Workers of the logistics sector, especially of international giants like Amazon, have been up in arms demanding better pay, contracts, job security, safety and right to unionize. Last week, 3 largest unions in Italy organized a 24-hour strike at all Amazon workplaces in the country, demanding improvement in work conditions.
Away from Germany, let's go to the UK, where protests have intensified across the United Kingdom, demanding the withdrawal of the police crime sentencing and courts bill proposed by the Tory government. On March 31, hundreds of people participated in the Kill the Bill protest in Bristol.
Mobilizations were also held in Manchester and Sheffield on March 27. According to reports, in several places the police made arrests and harassed several protesters. Earlier on March 21, protests in Bristol ended in clashes with the police. The bill has been sent to the committee stage following its approval in the second reading. In this stage, the bill will be examined clause by clause. However, this process has been delayed and observers have cited the protest as the reason. The bill proposed in the UK Parliament intends to overhaul the police and criminal justice system, and sentencing legislation contains provisions detrimental to the right to the protest in the country, as per activists. According to reports, the third part of the bill, which deals with protest and public assembly, the police have been entrusted with unconditional powers to control public gatherings and protests. The police force will be allowed to criminalize protests by terminate public nuisance and can control demonstrations by imposing start and finish timings and noise limits. Actions by even one individual can be considered as protests under the provisions of a new bill. Non-compliance with police guidelines may result in fines up to £2,500. Such provisions have evoked concern and have been denounced by progressive sections as an attack on the right to protest. The Young Communist League of Britain condemned the approval of the bill in its second reading in Parliament and called for the abandoning of the proceedings and the legislation. In its statement, YCL said that this legislation seeks to further restrict the right to freedom of expression and protest by banning demonstrations in the area surrounding the parliamentary estate, increasing punishment for those caught defacing statues of up to 10 years imprisonment. In a literal silencing of protest, the legislation even asks to allow the police the power to introduce noise limits on public protests. Labour MP Jeremy Corbyn said that the delay to the police crackdown bill shows how much the pressure of the government is under. The need to build a massive campaign on this bill and against the Tories' wider creeping authoritarianism, he added. Feminist Direct Action Group Sisters Uncut also declared victory after proceedings on the controversial police powers bill was delayed in the parliament. The group had organized 5 days of action after a police attack on a peaceful vigil in honor of slain Sarah. Everard at Clapham Common in London on March 13, the police action against the vigil drew widespread outrage across the UK. The police are drunk on power and should not be granted more. This is the power of protest, and this is just the beginning. We are ready to fight the police powers bill at every stage of Parliament, said Sisters Uncut. Everard, a 33-year-old marketing executive, was killed in London in the second week of March, allegedly by a police officer. The murder triggered protests against the state of women's safety in the country. The Revolutionary Communist Group also organized demonstrations against the police bill in several cities across the UK. Protest is a human right, and we stand against all attempts to strip off that right, said RCJ.
Credit to People's Dispatch for the international stories. Next is sports. Now let's do some sports. 7 days after his groundbreaking feat, Ghanaian sprinter Benjamin Azameti has broken another record in the United States of America. He broke the West Texas A&M 200 meters record at the just-ended Joe Maker Classic and Multi in Kenya.
In the second outdoor race of his career, the Tokyo Olympic Games-bound sprinter targeted another smashing run and delivered on the final day of the Joe Maker meet as he went past the record of 20 minutes 17 seconds set by American Quintin Sansing. Though Azamati's time is second off Ghana's record set by Joseph Paul Lamwa, he has recorded the fastest time in the National Collegiate Athletic Association division this year. The incredible feat caps are very good months for the sprinter, who set records in both the 60 and 200 meters at the Lone Star Conference Championships to catapult the West Texas athletics team to their third LSE championship title at Lubbock back in February.
That'll be all for sports. Let's do some entertainment story. Zimbabwe's Daniel Gurira, Kenya's Fena, Nigeria's David Oyelewo, and Tenny are among the stars that have teamed up for a new animated series dubbed Pandemica. The campaign, a global health and anti-poverty organization co-founded by U2 singer and philanthropist Bono, is to raise awareness of the critical importance of global vaccine access in ending the pandemic.
Pandemica is an animated series created to raise awareness of the critical importance of getting vaccine inequities and run less than 1 minute in length, recorded in English and French. The episodes will be released in several countries including Canada, the United States, Nigeria, South Africa, Senegal, France, Germany, Spain, Italy, and the Netherlands.
What's that?
Vaccines arrive.
Ooh.
Only 2? Boom! Nice! The vaccines!
Look, it's obvious. It's the hoarding of vaccines by rich countries and the lack of a coordinated global response that leaves us not only vulnerable to this virus, but to the next one that comes along.
Wait. A COVID-20?
Exactly.
And action. If the vaccine isn't everywhere, this pandemic isn't going anywhere.
That's how we wrap up on today's edition of Pan-African News Radio on Pan-African Television. But before we go, a recap of our headlines. Ghana thronged into state of disbelief and uproar following the gruesome murder of a 10-year-old by 2 teenage accomplices. Ghana Tuna Association calls for prudent fisheries management policy for Ghana following the beaching of different species of fishes along some beaches in the country. Later in business, we brought you, we took a look at critical efforts by government to revamp the railway sector in the country.